Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. If you are just joining us, we're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you this hour by Concierge. I'm sorry. Let me start all over again. We are broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios, and we are brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors.
That's it.
There, I think I got it.
You got it.
Yeah. And if you're, again, just joining us, we're talking about this story of a homeowner had to get their way. An individual who was, it said, a former police officer and a current attorney.
Practicing trial attorney.
A trial attorney, yes. This is someone who's aggressive, who had to get her way. She didn't like the fact that she had to take the junk mail that she picked up from her mailbox, maybe 100 extra steps to her home to throw away. But she asked for the association to put a wastebasket. They said no. We don't think it's needed. Mm-hmm. And then she started retaliating by just tossing the mail and littering the hallways as she went back to her unit just to make a statement. And it went back and forth, back and forth. Finally, she won over $201,000. Which the association's insurance company picked up and paid her. What a payday that was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm assuming some of that went to her attorney, whoever that was.
Yep, for legal costs, I'm sure.
You know, I can see both sides of this issue. I sure understand the homeowner because it seems very inefficient to have to take this junk out of your mailbox and walk it all the way back to your unit where you throw it away, and then you have to walk your trash all the way to wherever the trash goes. I understand that. And I've had the same thought about properties we manage and have lived in where the same thing is going on. We manage properties and we live in a property where certain people will leave their mail in the lobby, their junk mail. Mm-hmm. And I've often wondered now, should we put a wastebasket in the lobby, or why don't we put a wastebasket in the lobby? And there's some reasons why we don't.
Okay, let's go through what some of those
I have a small building, 12 units, where it's been traditional that there's a wastebasket in the lobby so people can throw their junk mail. And it works great. People can throw it right there. It works fine, except there's always people that are going to throw all kinds of trash and garbage in that receptacle. So we find rotting food sometimes. We find dirty baby diapers sometimes. And the caretaker, tries to stay on top of it, but sometimes it gets covered up by junk mail and it's not apparent.
I want to know the resident who finds it necessary to have to change their kid's diaper right there on the spot.
I know.
And dispose the diaper. This couldn't wait. I mean, a lot of these diapers, it says it'll hold up to 25 pounds. So I you'd think that they could wait a few more steps to get into their home.
You would think. So there could be lots of issues. Yeah. There could be lots of reasons why the association doesn't do it. Maybe they don't have on-site personnel to empty a wastebasket regularly. It could be as simple as that.
I have my wife and I have a rental unit that's in a small condo association of about 18 units, and that was the case. People ended up putting their, junk mail right in the trash can there, but people started doing the same thing, like you said, and they don't have someone that comes through every day. It's not big enough where you have a maintenance person who can always check every day to empty that, and things got bad, kind of got out of hand, so they did away with it. Yeah. So I could see that. But I think it was bad form for the homeowner to do what she did after that. That's just petty. And
it is so immature. It is so vindictive, mean, nasty.
Let's talk about that for a minute. What should the homeowner have done?
Well, they didn't, of course, give us all the details as to why the association turned down her request.
That's right.
We don't know that. But let's say it's because of a personnel issue or the garbage factor. How about she volunteers to be the person who empties out that wastebasket every couple of days?
Yeah.
All right. Here, we've got this convenience for everyone. I will step up as a member of my community and volunteer to empty this, or volunteer to get a rotation going of people who will empty it.
Yeah.
Resolve that problem.
Yeah, or if a majority of the homeowners said, we don't think it's that big of a deal, I don't want to take turns emptying a bigger garbage can to the trash, why doesn't everybody just bring it home and dispose of it,
And you know what?
you may have the answer.
There's another option she had. She could have brought it to the attention of all the other members. She could have brought it up at the annual meeting. She could have gotten a consensus or campaigned to get a consensus to support her viewpoint, but she didn't do any of that.
Obviously, because if a number of homeowners at the annual meeting said, that would be a nice thing.
There you go.
You know what? I don't think there would be a board that would say, oh, no way. I think they would say that's a simple thing, that request that we can grant.
That's right. So what could the Homeowners Association have done differently, Gene?
They should have never gone to court like this. That is for sure.
And for eviction.
I know. It is, again, when you are using something, a clause in the governing documents for a nuisance, we're talking someone who has much bigger issues, someone who is continuing to fix and repair cars and have a business
in the parking lot,
in their driveway,
or in the driveway.
You're talking about someone who is continuously building things on the common area that people share, for their own personal gazebo and other things. Yeah, there's
How
things
about the
that
person
people
that has a big loud party every weekend?
Yes, there are a number of things that you can do. When you get to that point, though, the association needs to realize that it would be helpful to get something that takes it out of the realm of being subjective to being objective, and that would be with the police. And so if you talk to the municipality and if someone is truly being a nuisance with being loud, you can get the police involved. They want to be involved in those things. And once you end up having built up a number of instances where that's the case, I think the courts would look at it in much different light.
I think so too. How about this? The governing documents that talk about becoming a nuisance or not being a nuisance to your neighbor, and I've seen that over and over again, that's very vague language. I think anytime the Homeowners Association takes a vague phrase like that and tries to use it in court, they're heading for disaster.
Yes, they are.
Because it's too subjective, as you said. What constitutes a nuisance?
I think it would have been much better for this association had they had a minor, first give a notice saying you've disobeyed the rules, regulations, you're littering, please stop. If the person continues on, I think a beginning fine, $25, $50, something on the smaller side and reasonable. Not every day that it happens, but a couple of fines would certainly be in order.
Right.
After that, I think it's appropriate for the association to say, if you continue to do this, after this, we're going to pay to have someone come and pick it up. And now you're paying for an actual cost. Because of someone's littering. And then after this bill gets, I think accumulated, let's say, to a few $100s, I think it would be appropriate then to take this as a matter for small claims court.
Sure.
Because I think it would be very easy for the court then to say, hey, we've been reasonable. We've given you a warning. We've given you some small fines. We've actually picked up and charged you for it. And now I think if you get an award for that, now you can garnish a person's wages. You have a judgment. They're concerned about their credit rating. They're going to pay that. That gets the message across, and hopefully the homeowner would stop doing it. But you don't have to go to the route that this association chose, which I think was really inappropriate.
I do too. It also talks about they took action to try and evict her. You cannot evict someone from their home, I don't think, in a homeowners association. You have to foreclose on their home.
Yes.
Do you not? To force them out. So this is much more complicated even than just like a rental eviction. This is foreclosure on the home to get her out. Another point I want to make is just because she's paid her mortgage doesn't mean that the association will never have a reason to foreclose on her again.
That's right.
They could foreclose on her for rules violation.
Yeah. Although we are seeing it start with some legislatures in some states where they're wanting to see that type of issue being something that cannot be a foreclosable event.
Yeah. And I can understand that because it is subjective, as you said. If someone owes money, that's very objective. It's cut and dried. There's records. There's contracts. And that's an easy issue to argue in court.
Yeah.
When you start talking about behavior issues and trying to foreclose on someone or evict someone, then it gets really shaky. And I can understand why people want to stop that action. But then they have to give the association some kind of tools to deal with people that are really big numbnuts or something like that.
I think that was the legal term, wasn't
That
it?
is the legal term.
Well, anyway, folks, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think? We have a hotline that you can use. You can leave a message, and we will address it in the following week on next week's show. That number at New Concepts is 952-224-2668. We're going to take another break right now, but when we come back, we have got a listener who called in that number and left a question for us that Tony and I are going to answer right after these messages.